Okay. Hello, thank you for joining me. My name is Sebastian, and my project title is Communicating Science, Navigating Controversial Topics with Reason. I interned with the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration, better known as NOAA. My site supervisors were Emily Markowitz and Heather Nyber, and my faculty advisor was Olivia Horwedel. Scientific communication is becoming increasingly difficult with the innovation of technology. With constant information being thrown at the public, much of which is conflicting, it is difficult to know who and what to trust. Media coverage of science is often inconsistent because a significant portion of stories focus on creating controversy rather than being truthful. This becomes especially apparent with contentious scientific topics, for example, climate change, bottom trawling, deforestation, and so much more, since a lot of the time your opinion is politicized. This in turn creates a divide between the general public and the science community as a whole. This divide is highlighted through an alarming knowledge gap between researchers and the general public, with barriers such as jargon hindering the general public's ability to learn more about topics. People also find it challenging to distinguish facts from falsehoods within narratives, and often accept information within narratives without any scrutiny, allowing many researchers to believe that the main problem with scientific communication is the inability to understand. My research question is, what factors should be emphasized when communicating contentious scientific information? To address this question, I worked alongside NOAA as a scientific communications intern. NOAA's mission is to understand and predict changes in climate, weather, oceans, and coasts, to share knowledge and information with others, and to conserve and manage coastal and marine ecosystems and resources. As an intern, my responsibilities were to bridge the gap of knowledge between scientists and the research they do by sharing it in an accessible way to the general public. The projects I worked on included bottom trawling, Pacific cod tagging, day in the life of researchers, ribbon seals, Pacific cod, heat maps, and so much more. I was tasked with turning research into plain language, interviewing researchers, creating social media posts, creating listicles, writing articles, and creating videos. Were conducted with NOAA researchers to unravel the complex nature of scientific communication. Researchers with different backgrounds gave insight into how they believed the best way to communicate controversial science is. Interviewees were questioned with ways in which they found scientific communication to be most effective. Using observational skills, interviewees used plain language, contextualized and analogized and demonstrated. Literature review research focused on five major issues of communicating controversial science: misinformation, biases, conflicting information, lack of interest, and lack of understanding. The literature research also looked at effective communication methods and techniques and teaching techniques. I focus on transparency and making research accessible to the average person through plain language. Found past studies that worked with controversial science issues to see the results and to form my own opinion. And lastly, surveys were administered online to understand the most effective way to communicate contentious scientific topics to the general public. The survey was voluntary, anonymous, and shared through environmental advising, but it was open to anyone who wanted to. The survey assessed the demographics from 44 random participants and analyzed the scientific consensus to the general public. The survey began with questions to assess prior beliefs and knowledge of environmental topics. Next, through mediums, an infographic, social media posts, and educational video were shared that shared scientific information shown as Image 1, Image 2, and Image 3. They were used to assess participants on a 5-point scale on how engaging and effective it was. In Figure 1, you can see a bar graph made from the results of the survey. The infographic shown displayed climate change's threats to coral reefs and received 10 excellent ratings out of 43 total respondents. The social media post shown displayed the state of 2023's climate and received 10 excellent ratings out of 42 total respondents. The educational video showed the Deepwater Horizon oil spill, the largest oil spill in US history, and its effects a decade later, receiving 18 excellent ratings out of 39 total respondents. The varying responses are due to the voluntary aspect of the survey. Each of the three mediums presented a controversial topic to see how narrative plays a role in comprehension. My research found that using plain language and cutting out jargon is crucial to increasing comprehension. Using visual tools such as videos and infographics to share the information is beneficial as well. AI technology that focuses on fact checking will become increasingly important to act misinformation and help people sift through credible information. Narratives were also shown to play a role. This is especially apparent in image 3 because the video shown in the survey was the most effective medium at sharing contentious information. The video showed an oil spill that devastated the ecosystems and included heart-wrenching footage of veterinarians cleaning oil-to-tempt uh, Ridley turtles. Scientific communication is something that will constantly need to evolve. Teaching children at an early age how to identify credible information and detect misinformation is a good starting point. And understanding that everything you read is not necessarily a fact can minimize biases. Scientists will have to adopt new communication methods to close the gap of knowledge between researchers and the general public. However, it is not just scientists who have to further communication efforts. Teachers, parents, and peers will all have to come together collectively to educate. With many environmental sectors in the US now facing layoffs, keeping the public actively informed on contentious information is crucial. Since science is highly politicized, it makes it important that the general public is informed, as it allows people to form their own opinions and analyze information to be credible. Hopefully, with a more transparent scientific landscape, more people will defend the science behind contentious topics and allow for policy and environmental action to take place. Lastly, I just want to spend a second to acknowledge a couple of people. First of all, my advisors, Emily Markowitz, Heather Nybert, and Olivia Horwedel. You're all incredible at helping further this research project. Next, Olivia Young for pushing me academically as my internship partner. Paul Hillman for all the help with interviews, and Sarah Rook and the rest of my family for providing me with support throughout the process. Thank you for listening.